My name is Natalie King, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the John F. Kennedy assassination. It's 11:30 in the morning on November 22nd, 1963. Carolyn King, my grandmother, was sitting at her desk in the accounting department of S.C. Bourne Paper Company in Westbrook, Maine. She was sitting there when someone came in and announced that the president had been shot. As they gathered around the radio in the office, they listened to hear more news about what had happened. This was an event that will never be forgotten. My grandmother was alive when it happened, so I am lucky enough to have a primary source account of what it was like to be an everyday American during this historical tragedy. Something like this could happen today. The assassination of John F. Kennedy had a major impact on the citizens of the United States of America, like my grandmother. I will be talking about what happened from a factual point of view, from my grandmother's point of view, and if you were looking at it today. If you were about to open a book about John F. Kennedy, much like this one that my grandmother gave me, you would read a secondary source account of what had happened. You would see the factual point of view. You would see that it happened on November 22nd, 1963, at 12:30 p.m. Central Time on a Friday afternoon. You would see that they were driving through a 10-mile motorcade, leaving. It was John F. Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy, John Connally, the governor of Texas, and his wife. This is when Lee Harvey Oswald did an unthinkable thing. He shot him. He had many motives for this, but the biggest one was that he was pro-Castro. At the height of the Cold War and a year after the Cuban Missile Crisis, people were furious. People like Lee Harvey Oswald. My grandmother remembers this distinctly. She was horrified. She remembers that her and everyone around her were in a daze. They were scared. They didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know who was going to leave their country or what they were going to wake up to the next day. You could hear about it everywhere. It was on TV, playing over the radio, in the newspapers. She couldn't escape it. If we were looking at something like this today, if President Obama got shot, we would be feeling the same way. We would have that same uneasiness. We would be in that same state of shock. It affects everyone. If the person that is supposed to be the most protected person in America gets shot, how are we supposed to feel safe? How are we supposed to walk out of our doors and feel protected? It's something that's very scary to think about. The assassination of John F. Kennedy had a major impact on everyone, and it still does today. My grandmother talked about this with me, and we both decided we would be horrified if this had happened. When you're looking at it through the facts, or you're looking at it from a primary source, or you're talking about it in terms of today, you can clearly see something like this would have a major impact. My grandmother brings a point of view on the Kennedy assassination that is not always represented. Sometimes it's not the bigger picture that's the most interesting thing, but the people that lived through the event. Thank you. I have